LizWilson discovered her calling as a designer of church needlepoint quite by accident. Having studied art at Southern Methodist University, the Art Institute of Chicago, and through numerous workshops taught by talented artists, Liz well knew how to draw, paint, and create beautiful designs. She was living with her family on the North Shore of Chicago during the early 70s, an era when needlepoint was especially popular as a means of creating treasures for one's home or as special gifts. Liz joined a needlepoint group led by the expert British needlewoman, Edna Casserly. Edna was living on the North Shore with her husband, an Anglican priest serving an Episcopal church in the area. As these women met together to improve their skills, one or another would comment, "I wish I could create a needlepoint rug especially for my living room," or "I wish I could give my little granddaughter a special stocking created just for her." Liz, the artist, immediately responded, "I could draw that design for you." And she did create many marvelous designs for friends and family members. Liz named her needlepoint design business Studio in the Woods because of the lovely wooded terrain of Hubbard Woods where she lived. Edna observed Liz's design business for friends and families develop, but she had another idea as a direction for Liz's artistic talent. Having strong connections to the Episcopal Church, as well as the broader church community, Edna knew that many churches were eager to add needlepoint as a decorative feature in their sanctuaries, a practice that had been prevalent in the Anglican churches of England for centuries. Through Edna's influence, Liz was presented with a great opportunity. St. Mark's Episcopal Church of Evanston was considering a major needlepoint design project for its sanctuary and chapel known as the Lady Chapel. After meeting with the rector and the church leadership, Liz was selected to be the designer. She began a project that ultimately resulted in 31 pieces of needlework art, including kneelers, stall cushions, clergy chairs and kneelers, wedding kneelers, chair seats, and a large altar rug 11 feet in length. To create her designs, Liz studied the decorative themes already present in the sanctuary in stained glass windows, wood carvings, and metal railings. She focused on several major themes central to the church's core beliefs, including the Lamb representing Christ, the descending dove symbolizing the Holy Spirit, the lion emblematic of Mark the Evangelist, and the shield of the Episcopal Church. In the Ladies' Chapel, Liz selected the garden enclosed with its fountain, an image associated with the Virgin Mary, as well as the rose, the lily, and Mary's monogram. After creating detailed color drawings of her designs, Liz painted them directly onto the canvases. She then selected the wool threads in the appropriate colors, which would be applied by needleworkers using the tent stitch, an ancient technique known for its precision and sturdiness as it covered the canvas on both sides. Many church members volunteered to work on the great project, some of whom had never needlepointed in their lives. Liz taught these ladies how to perform the necessary stitch and worked with the group to oversee the entire project. Later, many members of the group described the joy and sense of community they experienced while doing this creative work for the church they loved. When the canvases were completely worked, each one was carefully upholstered by a master craftsman to assure that it would last for decades. The next and last step in the process was a particularly meaningful one for Liz. All of the needlepoint creations were presented at the altar of the sanctuary in a formal dedication service before the entire congregation. The person who worked a particular kneeler or seat cushion or a portion of the altar rug carried it in a procession down the aisle and placed it before the altar. The needlepoint work was dedicated to the glory of God and for the joy of the congregation. Liz's contribution as a needlepoint designer for churches was spreading. She was approached by another St. Mark's Episcopal Church, this one in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This project was also a large one and consisted of creating designs for both the sanctuary and St. Mary's Chapel, a lovely space painted Wedgwood blue, known as Mary's color. Again, Liz utilized motifs and colors already present in the church, creating designs that would be particularly meaningful to that congregation. At this juncture, Liz moved Studio in the Woods to another wooded area, this one in Baltimore, Maryland, when her husband Jim's career took him to the East Coast. Liz soon discovered that the National Cathedral, the great structure that sits high on a hill in northwestern Washington, D.C., was noted for its extensive needlepoint collection. Within the cathedral is St. John's Chapel, which has needlepoint kneelers dedicated to many past presidents and other Americans prominent in the arts, sciences, diplomacy, business, and medicine. Liz learned that two recent presidents, Harry Truman and Lyndon Johnson, had not yet been honored with kneelers. Liz did the necessary paperwork and received permission from the Needlework Committee of the Altar Guild to proceed with the designs. As a Texan by birth, Liz decided to stitch the Johnson kneeler personally. Her good friend Courtney Paddock from Evanston stitched the Truman kneeler. A year later, the two kneelers were dedicated in a ceremony in the National Cathedral Sanctuary. After Richard Nixon's death in 1994, Liz was asked by the Cathedral Needlepoint Committee to design a kneeler commemorating his presidency. She did design, stitch, and carry the Nixon kneeler during its dedication. In 2008, Liz had another opportunity to participate in a dedication ceremony at the National Cathedral, this time honoring Ronald Reagan. Though Liz did not design his kneeler, she did personally stitch it, a process that took over a year of delicate work. Joined by her family for the ceremony, she carried the Reagan kneeler to the altar of the National Cathedral, another moving occasion. While in Baltimore, Liz created many personal designs for friends. One of her designs, a round Christmas rug featuring a circle of holly and a white background with a multitude of different complex stitches, won a blue ribbon at a large competition. Liz was also presented with the opportunity to design several pieces for the Thorndike Hilton Memorial Chapel at the Chicago Theological Seminary on the campus of the University of Chicago. Her designs included chair cushions, a banner, a wedding kneeler, and an altar rug that was worked by 12 women who lived in different areas of Chicago. In 1979, when Liz and Jim moved from Baltimore to San Antonio, Texas, Liz renamed her design business Studio in the Sun. She soon established her expertise as a designer of church needlepoint and was approached by Travis Park United Methodist Church in the downtown area of the city. The church was undergoing a major renovation project, which would include the installation of what was to be the largest pipe organ in the city. Again, Liz worked closely with clergy, music staff, and volunteers to develop the designs for altar kneelers, wedding kneelers, and an altar cloth. Her designs featured the red coloration and the pattern of the marble floor, and the shell, a symbol of communion, as unifying elements. When the needlepoint, along with the organ and other enhancements to the sanctuary were dedicated, one could clearly see how the kneelers and the altar cloth integrated all of the other decorative elements into a satisfying whole. As a result of her work with Travis Park, Liz was approached by another Methodist church, this one from the Valley section of Texas, where many citrus farms flourish. St. Mark's United Methodist Church of McAllen, Texas, invited Liz to design altar kneelers for their sanctuary, incorporating the citrus fruits and flowers of their region. They chose a deep green background for their kneelers to symbolize the renewal of life, so important to a farming region. In the early 1990s, Liz was offered another exciting design project in San Antonio. St. Francis Episcopal Church was known for its beautiful, modern, stained glass windows, designed by the prominent Texas painter and designer of stained glass windows, Cecil Lang Casbier. The vibrant colors and seaming motion of the patterns in the windows made them remarkable. The church also featured native rock walls and striking wood paneling throughout the sanctuary, as well as deep red carpeting. Liz was asked to design altar kneelers, chair cushions, and an altar cloth, incorporating the symbols and colors used in the sanctuary. The dedication of the needlework took place in 1993. The results were stunning. As Liz was completing her design work for St. Francis, she was presented with one more particularly challenging church project. Alamo Heights United Methodist Church had decided to leave its original location and build a larger church to house its congregation, which had become one of the largest in South Texas. While the church plans were still in blueprint form, Liz was asked to design the kneelers to surround the altar. Liz did indeed design 22 kneelers, using the pomegranate as a motif, as its seeds symbolize all of the worshipers gathered within the church. The church brought its original Gothic style stained glass windows into the new structure. The windows featured symbols from many Bible stories, as well as fruits and flowers mentioned in the Bible, and those images were incorporated into the design of the kneelers. The border of each kneeler was a scroll design, with each element of the scroll tied together with a ring, representing Christ's relationship with the church. The colors selected were vibrant and varied, with 8 shades of red and 16 shades of green in the mix. A background for the kneelers of forest green was selected to complement the red carpeting used in the sanctuary. Liz went on to design the chair backs and seat covers for 3 large altar chairs which once belonged to the Matinee Art Museum. These designs contain a pattern featuring 35 different crosses used in the Christian church for the seat cushions, with a different and particularly significant large cross in the center of each chair back. The last stage of the design process involved the creation of banners to be placed at the altar during different seasons of the Christian year. The white Christmas banner featured the poinsettia, believed by some to represent the Christmas rose. The Easter banner featured the passion flower and the crown. Other banners featured the fish, representing Christ, the fisher of men, the cross and the vine, referencing communion, and the descending dove, symbolizing the Holy Spirit. The church was completed in 1994, but the needlepoint project took a full 4 years to complete and was fully installed in 1998. Many volunteer stitchers contributed to this great effort. One way of contemplating the scope of the task is to consider that each needler required 69,000 stitches, and each banner 42,000 stitches. In recognition of Liz's contribution as a designer of ecclesiastical needlepoint around the country, Liz received the Alumni Achievement Award from her fraternity, Kappa Kappa Gamma, at their national convention held in Atlanta in 1994. Liz was recognized for her beautiful needlepoint designs and for her long contribution to the organization, having served as president of the Alumni Associations in Dallas and on the North Shore of Chicago. While living in San Antonio, Liz organized the Kappa Stitchers, who together created many special gifts for new members and a beautiful fleur-de-lis rug designed by Liz, which was auctioned to raise funds for charitable causes. The rug was displayed at the Kappa House at the University of Texas and the Governor's Mansion in Austin. When it recently found its way back to Liz, she conferred with the local alumni group, and all agreed that it would be fitting to donate the rug to the Kappa Kappa Gamma Heritage Museum in Columbus, Ohio, where it welcomes visitors today. Though Liz never envisioned that her needlepoint designs would be in a museum, or in a cathedral, or in sanctuaries around the United States, and in England, where she designed an altar cloth for a historic church in Yorkshire, she takes great joy in knowing that her work is added to the worship of God and to the beauty of His house. Your narrator and the developer of this project to celebrate Liz's career is LizWilson Hamby, Liz's daughter.